ever eaten moldy chocolate?
The tardigrade?
I'm Jasmin.
Swear on Satan, I'll do that. That's my headcanon.
Okay, into it, all of it.
I'm Mells.
I love it. Dumb.
Wait a minute. And if you're watching TV,
I love it. Make sure it's damn fine TV.
This is amazing. That was awesome. Oh my god. Okay.
Pouring one out for Laura Lee and Leonard. I'm Jay.
And having a meltdown in cold cream, I'm Mells.
Welcome to Damn Fine TV's Yellowjackets rewatch.
This week we are covering season 1, episode 8. Now let's buzz.
Buzz. Oh, Laura Lee, Leonard.
I know.
Oh, there's so much to talk about. Let's dive right in.
Okay, all right. So episode 8 is titled Flight of the Bumblebee. Back in 96, the Yellowjackets are having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad few days as they deal with the fallout of the search party's failure and then take in the horrific sight of Laura Lee's Final Destination style demise. In the present day, Nat relapses, Misty makes some comfort food, and Ty and Shauna have a sleepover.
Okay, so I knew the title of the episode when, Laura Lee took her fateful flight. And as I turned it on today, I saw the title and I already started crying.
Oh.
Let's just say I'm at an emotional point in my cycle, everyone. And so this episode really got to me. Like, I think I was crying pretty much start to finish. Like, I would like dry my tears and then be like, oh my God, this is so sweet. Oh my God, this is so sad. Like, really had me in my feels. I mean, like, right from the beginning, the fact that these girls are looking down at their friend that has just been eaten alive pretty much by a wolf and they're going to set her on fire. I was devastated for Van, even though I know that she was about to wake up. And then just her response of being like, really, fire? Like, that made me cry, like, tears of happiness for her, like, oh, Van. Still same old Van.
Still got your wits, your humor about you, gal.
I know. And then, when they get back, like when Akilah and Mari and Misty show up and then they're like, show us which way to go. And they like go out and they do a rescue party for Van and Ty. I was just like, this feels so epic.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Or I didn't want to cut off your. Well, it was emotional for me too. I'm not at a pivotal point in any cycle, just maybe like middle age. So like perhaps that's what my problem is. I'll tell you the moment the tears were really, and oh my God, hold on. I can't believe this.
It is an emotional episode, I feel.
The minute I think started to break down the most was when Nat, like, you have fade into you, like you have that song playing, you have Nat like breaking down over Travis and like all of the stuff with Travis and Nat like in the past. I don't know what it is about anytime that song comes on, like TV, film, like I love the song anyway, but like this always used so appropriately. So this time I was just like, I cannot deal with this. Okay, like, and I'm trying not to cry right now.
And we get such a like emotional and vulnerable moment with Nat later on with Suze of all people, but like, it sets it up really nicely there. And that song is such a good choice.
Oh, I mean, we've talked about this before, but the whole soundtrack to this, it's one of my Spotify playlists. It's like, I have it on heavy rotation all the time. But I mean, not just that, like the breakdown of Ty to Simone and the reaching out to Shauna from Ty. I mean, just all of this. And then you have it all ending or coming to a head with Laura Lee. And I just was like, I cannot like do this. And honestly, I still don't know what it means. I remember us talking about it when we kind of did like overall thoughts. I don't know what the opening is supposed to mean for Laura Lee, but I still like as soon as that Mary Magdalene summer camp or whatever it's called. I was like, oh God, I'm just not
I was like
prepared for this at all. I know.
I was like, no, thank you. It was triggering, or not triggering, but like traumatizing enough the first time around.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we'll get into it, but oof.
But it was a fantastic, I mean, just a fantastic episode. I much like we talked about last week, like there was it was like over before it started for me. And I was like, what in the world, you know? So
yeah. There's so many great emotional moments, but I feel like, and you know, I've talked about this before on the show, not necessarily covering Yellowjackets, but just in general, saying for me, if you make me cry, that's like peak good show for me, because there's obviously something that I've really deeply connected with, and it's, you know, evoked that emotion from within me. And like, we'll talk about it as we move through, but these emotional moments are so rooted in this dialogue that makes everything feel so real and relatable, and it's just so good. Hot take, this show fucking rules.
I know.
I'm so excited for season 2.
You know what? I'm so excited, but I'm also I'm very anxious about it, to be honest, because I'm like, there's something so magical about this first season. And I mean, like, you know what I mean? I know it's going to be amazing. I don't have any doubts about it, but I'm still just I'm very nervous going into it. But given the story and the material that we've got in this show, I mean, I don't see how it can't be a phenomenal season 2. I'm ready for it to get started, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, it's right around the corner, so we'll be there soon for sure.
Yeah.
We'll be there before you can say, go Laura Lee or something.
Go Laura Lee. Okay, like, all right. Well,
all right, let's talk about Laura. Yeah, let's talk about her. So, Mary Magdalene summer camp. This chick, does she understand the shallow end? Does she know what she's doing? Is she testing something?
That's why I say I still don't I don't know what it's supposed to signify, especially like this is the episode that she dies in. So I was like,
yes.
I mean, is the woods more of a great test or like test versus like this? Like, are we just seeing like maybe she does? I don't know, but I still worry about, like, ma'am, the way that she was absently, like, it wasn't like she was there, like she was very deep in thought, and then just okay, like head first into the shallow end. It's like, I don't, I don't know, but she seemed very firm in her faith after that. I don't know if it's because Jesus Jugs gave us like some great CPR or whatever it was, but
that was so funny to me that there was this like illuminated shining crucifix against this like ripped lifeguard fit bod, and I was just like, in another show this kid would be at Jesus camp, but like they would be emphasizing how not into it she was because she found out she was attracted to dudes. Like this was her first crush or whatever. It was very funny.
I know.
But I mean, it's
very childlike.
Yeah, totally.
Or I shouldn't say childlike, but very like young and
yeah,
but childlike.
So
kind of.
I mean, I don't know if it's meant to symbolize the fact that she just kind of dives headfirst into things. Like she kind of does things without really thinking them through. Is it meant to be a commentary on religious faith in a way of being like, you think that you have this purpose and this path and you think that, you'll be fine because you follow this way, but like you can't just be taking out planes that haven't been driven in fucking years and don't have a tune up and don't even have like a clean windshield. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And you can't, I mean, I guess maybe she had a false sense of security because she dived headfirst into a pool and was saved. Like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
So anyways, it's definitely a shocking opening though.
Yeah.
With her anyway.
Yeah. She continues to be a mystery. That's for sure.
Yes.
And we don't get long with her. And
no.
I still like, you know, the fact that Leonard burnt up, I don't know. Like, it's just like she got to a certain point, like at the wood line or the water line or whatever it is. And, like what Lottie said was, he doesn't want us to leave, or it doesn't want us to leave or whatever. It's, I tried to find some way around, like, to explain out how the fire started, because I was like, I know that the teddy bear caught on fire, but like, did it come up through the seat or whatever? And I was like, I mean, it just looked like poor Leonard just really burst into flames.
It really, and it kind of looked like, I'm not going to know the right word for it, and I don't mean to offend anybody that I've probably already offended religious people, so whatever, but there have been movies, I feel like, with like spirit possession or demonic shit or like a stigmata type thing, but one of those like phenomenon, let's say, one of them is like just like that spontaneous combustion.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, is it one of those things where that's where the fire started in the plane? So that's where, and it just so happens that this like cute little teddy bear is sitting there. And so it looks like a poor Leonard caught on fire. But then when you see it from the back, like when you see it from outside of the plane, the other end, and it's like the back end of the plane is smoking. Now, maybe the smoke has moved all the way through and it's just coming out that side of the back of the plane, but it certainly like, I feel like we get a different version of events almost from that shot outside versus what Laura Lee is seeing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And the whole way that it transpires, I mean, like, it fills up with smoke so quickly, like all of it, it happened. I mean, I guess it would happen quickly, but
it's a tiny plane, I guess. Like, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's two very distinct perspectives on what's happening, and it's like,
right.
It's fitting that, I guess fitting is the right way to say it, but that Laura Lee's got this perspective of it, and then like Lottie's got this other perspective of it from, at the shoreline or whatever. So, but the way that they all ran after her, I was like, well, it's not. You should have known it wasn't going to end well.
Good though. Like, do you remember the first time that you watched it? How like I remember feeling so happy for these girls. Like, yes, they really needed this win, especially after everything that just happened with Van and the fact that like Shauna is pregnant, and like I was just like, I was so stoked for them, and I was like, go religious girl, like let's do this. And then the way that it just happens so quickly that motherfucker blows up. And I love Jackie's reaction, because that actress just did such a great job in a split second of showing the amount of shock that could like ripple through you when something that quick and that devastating happens.
Absolutely.
It was so great.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. No, I mean,
I kind of wanted Ben to be like, well,
I don't want to say I told you so, but well, I mean, and it's funny because even though I knew it was going to happen, I still had that tug of like,
yes,
silly like hope. I still, but like the way that it is just done so well with them cheering and everything, like I felt like there's no way they could be robbed of some type of thing to go their way. And I was like, no,
of having the win. Yeah. I mean, even the way they all kind of get together and chip in and help clear the pathway for the plane, and like it's such a team effort. I mean, even Ben is there helping clear away trees and everything. I mean, it's just I loved the whole lead up to it. And even going back to the conversation in the cabin where I was like, girl, wait until they're awake. You don't need to be waking them up with a ladle on a chair. Like, come on now. And then
business, okay.
And this is what I mean of like, was that opening scene at Mary Magdalene camp to show that like once Laura Lee gets settled in on something, you're not talking her out of it.
Well,
like she's going for it. She's not turning back. It's a little impulsive, but she's had the time to think about it. And now she knows that she wants to do it. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe that I got. And then when Ben is like trying to be like, The one time he's trying to say, I'm an adult and you need to listen. And she takes one step and is like, what are you going to do about it, Ben? I literally was like, oh.
No, it's better because she was like, what are you going to do about it, Coach Scott?
Yes.
I mean,
so
like,
true.
she like, that's the opposite of government naming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she was straight up was like, oh, you want to take the adult angle? Well, I'll call you Coach Scott since I'm such a child. You know what I mean? Like,
and the whole time, I don't know if you noticed Jackie's smirk when Laura Lee did that. And she was like, I am a messy bitch that likes drama. Give me this drama. I'm so angry at her, but I loved that smirk.
But yeah. She's definitely got that part down really, well. I didn't find any redeemable points to Jackie in this episode. Last episode, we kind of went back and forth where we were like, oh man. Then we were like, nope. Came back to our senses by the end of it. But this episode, I just was like, you messy bitch.
She is a messy bench that loves drama. But there's the stuff with Travis, I feel like she's not aware of what she's doing. I really believe that.
I agree with that.
Here with Shauna, this is so vindictive and so petty. And I hate it. I hate it so much. For me, it felt like, I mean, anytime you force somebody to come out with information like that, it's so invasive and it's so wrong. I don't know. I don't know. For me, this is a definite like full on turning point with Jackie where it's like, I don't know what you do to like make it up to her at this point because that was really shitty. And I know she's obviously mad. Like, I get it, but shitty.
No, I mean, that I think that bridge was burned there. And I just, and I tried to tell myself, like, maybe try to look through Jackie's eyes. I mean, she did. I know we don't agree with the way that she found out the information about who Shauna's really pregnant by. But I mean, there's obviously a lot of deep-seated hurt and whatever there, but still, like, I don't know. It was the way that she was also saying the thing, like luring Shauna into the false narrative as well. Like it not just being like, I know this in the back of my mind, but you know what? Like we'll settle this at some time or whatnot. Like she outs the pregnancy and then she also continues to gaslight her like, this is the best thing for you with the baby. We don't want anything to happen to the baby, or whatever. And it's just like,
And the thing is, if there had been like a legitimate, let's say the girls were split on whether Laura Lee should do anything, and somebody brought up the point of Van clearly needs medical attention, and then let's say somebody debated back like, well, no, we have like Misty has been pretty helpful. We've been, doing just fine with that stuff. Like it's not, I don't know. Let's say there was more of a debate. If the Shauna pregnancy thing might have tipped it over and Jackie actually felt from like an altruistic place of being like, my friend needs help, but that's absolutely not what it was. So,
100%. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not girl boss of her at all.
That was not what?
Girl boss of her at all.
No, that was very gas lunch of her. Well, so like we might as well continue talking about Jackie and then like the Nat and Travis stuff. I mean, unless you had any other points for Laura Lee.
No, just RIP.
I know. And Leonard too. Poor sweet Leonard.
It's just the irony.
I really admire her for doing this. I just wish that she hadn't. It's sad.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so Nat and Travis this episode in 96, they each have their own little like relationship. I want to say counseling, but one of them is counseling and one of them is shit talking. And Jackie is the shit talking one, but like I said, I really don't think that she knew what she was doing. I think she knew she was shit talking Nat, but I also don't think her and Nat have the greatest relationship. I don't think she gives a shit about Nat, and I think in her headspace right now, like Jackie's very self-involved. Jackie just read all of this shit in Shauna's journal. She is not thinking outside of herself for a second.
Right.
So when she says all that shit to Travis, it's I don't think she did it on purpose.
It didn't feel malicious to me. I mean, I feel like she was letting off, like she was venting in her own way to Travis, which is kind of weird to say because it's like she and Travis don't have a relationship either. So, like thinking that he's going to maybe like step into Shaw's shoes or something and be her new BFF. I don't know. Like, I think that she's probably searching for somebody to talk to in these moments as well.
Oh, definitely.
And she doesn't have the relationship with the girls. Like, that's obvious now after so many weeks, of them being stranded. But yeah, like, and she didn't know that they had talked about it. I mean, the whole Bobby Farley thing with that being the flex situation. I just don't think that it was that deep for her, but obviously it was deep for Travis and Natalie. So
yeah, Jackie just really has a talent for putting her foot in her mouth and not realizing it.
And I genuinely think she was upset. Like I think she genuinely felt bad when that was like, "Fuck you, Jackie."
I do too.
Like I really, I was like, she didn't mean that, but it's really hard to find anything redeeming or talk nicely about it when the rest of the episode she's doing what we just talked about she was doing. So
I know. And like you said, we're trying to see it from her point of view. Like she did just find out this huge thing about her boyfriend and her best friend, but she also found it out from stealing her best friend's journal. And like, it's messy. It's so messy.
Yeah.
But not so messy is Nat and Ben. That's such a nice conversation.
I know. I mean, honestly, like, yeah. I love this interaction between the two of them. Like, I like, when he's like, don't, tell anyone. And I think of all the people, it would be Natalie that I would trust. You know what I mean? Which just, he doesn't, I guess maybe he doesn't really like know that. But yeah, like his secret or like his not wanting it to come out this way is safe with her. And yeah. Sweet little Ben. Like, I'm telling you, I can't wait to see what becomes of him because I'm really like pouring myself into his character a little bit more. And I've talked about this. Like, I did binge this series up to the penultimate episode. So I really didn't. Now that I'm going episode by episode on a rewatch, I'm finding I'm connecting with a lot of the characters that the first time around I was just like, okay, well, I mean, it is what it is with old Ben Boy, but I'm just like, oh.
I know. So we all did one of those, and by we all, I mean in the group chat, we did one of those like, which Yellowjackets character are you quizzes. And I got Coach Ben, and I was so like, whatever about that. And now I'm like, yeah, I got Coach Ben.
See,
right, I got Coach Ben.
I can't remember who I got.
I still don't really understand why, but whatever.
I feel like I got like Jessica, and I was like, that makes zero sense.
I think that is who you got, but I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, like these quizzes obviously aren't.
Well, it makes me mad though because I'm like, I sat here for 47. It's not even an even number of questions on the quiz. I sat here for 47 questions, and then you're gonna tell me I'm fucking Jessica? I don't think
we should redo them. Maybe that would be a fun like Patreon thing. We could redo the quiz.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm into it. We might need to find a different quiz though, because once I've like gotten answers, or not answers, but like I feel like I know how to manipulate my answers to questions to get characters after I've taken it a couple of times.
I'm fine with that.
I'm also petty like that too, where I'm like, those quizzes where it's like, what city are you? And I'm like, I'm definitely not the city. But as I'm redoing the questions, I'm like, I can see where this food choice would land me in that city,
Yes. Right. Well, I think it's fine. I think we can manipulate our way through the quiz. I'm really not bothered. It's probably like a Cosmo quiz or something.
It would be true Yellowjackets form to manipulate it anyway, so it would be fine.
Sure. But yeah, that is such a really nice conversation. The actor that plays Ben does this really nice work of like Natalie is being so normal and great and just like whatever, having a regular conversation. And meanwhile, this guy is like really thinking about this guy that he is now left behind. And there's this like really subtle motion where he just like wipes a tear from under his eye and then he has a little sniffle. And it was just such good, subtle acting in that moment. I just really appreciated it. I never noticed it on the first watch, or it wasn't something that stuck out to me. And it was so good.
I know, but I was like, poor Paul. I think that's his name. It was like Paul.
What was Ben going to be doing with all those condoms?
That's exactly what I was fixing to say. I was like, poor Paul. Like, you're telling us that you were ready to move into the, like, he wanted you to move into the city and settle down with him. And then you've got like 30 magnums in your pocket. I'm like, sir.
I mean, they might be in an open relationship. We don't know.
Serious.
But,
yeah. But,
you know, I mean, yeah. It's rough stuff either way for Paul because he is wondering where Ben has gone. So,
whew, yeah.
And then, of course, like everything kind of culminates between Nat and Travis once Nat gets back and Travis kind of confronts her. And it's like, it's also tragically teenagerly. Like, I don't even know the right word for that. And yeah, they're teenagers. So, like, they're going to have these like kind of a little bit not exaggerated, but like just
Drama.
bigger emotions about these things, right? Like, yeah. I feel like Nat, I get why she kind of kept this information from him. Should she have? Probably not. But I think she was trying to protect him in a way. Like, I don't know. And she admits it right away. She says, look, I made a mistake. Are you going to let this happen over something so stupid? And Travis just has too much pride and too much ego. And we've known that about him.
Yes. Yeah. And also, I mean, I will tell you, I was a little shocked and I wanted to really walk back all of those words I had talked about last episode about Natalie being so mature, especially in this situation. And then I was like, oh, well, here it is. Here's the can't get it up comment. Never mind.
Well, and I really actually appreciated that because we've seen that exact behavior from adult Natalie.
Yeah.
And it was like, so where, like, not that I couldn't picture 96 Natalie acting in that way, but just to kind of see it in full display, I was like, here we are connecting the dots. Totally makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know. But she definitely didn't have to go there. He definitely didn't have to say it was a mistake for them to be together or whatever. Like, it was just so, that's what I mean. It was so teenager-ish. It's just like, come on, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Bobby Farley?
Bobby. It's always a bad boy.
Always a Bobby.
All right. Did we miss anything from 96? I mean, I know there's all the van stuff, but.
I mean, not really, other than I am still mystified.
Mystified?
Mystified, yes. By how, like, I don't know if it's just because they got it cleaned up, but her Van's wound just does not look like it did in the woods. Because I was like, what? Now I don't see her tooth. And she was clearly, I don't know. I was like thinking to myself, was there something about the fire, a ritual type thing where it healed her a little bit in some weird way? I don't know. Like, that could just be me reaching to try to placate this part of my brain where I'm like, her wounds never match up to the severity that they should be.
But I wonder if it's because they had flapped her skin up to begin sewing.
Yes. And that's why I say, like, yeah, that they had cleaned it up and prepped it and everything. But I'm still very bothered by this.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess the other stuff from 96 is between Shauna and Ty, but we're going to kind of mesh them together between past and present. So I love these two. I don't know if it's just something that I didn't really connect in with on the first watch, but I don't know, watching Ty confide in her about the sleepwalking thing in the past, and then Shauna, well, both of them really confide in each other about stuff that's going on in the present day. It made me feel really sad that they pretend to not be friends or not be in contact anymore. And I guess I don't really fully understand why. Like, I know that they don't want to reveal certain things that have happened, and I don't know if it was maybe a choice when they all got back of like, we can't hang out because it's like too triggering or something.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like these two women are actually really good for each other.
I mean, honestly, they're like the true BFFs in some weird way of this show. I mean, yeah, we've talked obviously in past episodes about how their relationship in 96 seems to really blossom like once they move up to the attic together and all of this. And then obviously there's the abortion scene and all of that. But like, just to see that, I know they've kept in touch over the 20 years, but not in the way that you would think. But it just feels like they also haven't missed a beat. Like when they're walking together down the street, and then they have their sleepover, and then, they talk about like when they got back, like what the reality was for each of them and how different it was. Like Shauna was supposed to go to Brown, and she was supposed to go to France and fall in love with a mime, and Ty's like, well, I was supposed to do all this stuff. And it's like, but you did. And she's like, well, I might have done it, but it was so empty or not real feeling. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so like, that's so powerful. And also just because it's shared between Ty and Shauna, and it just feels like an extra layer of like authentic. I guess that is what I'm trying to say.
So this is kind of what I meant in my overall thoughts of the conversation that they have in present day feels so relatable, and not because I've been through any of those things that they talk about, but there is something about the choice of words, the way they talk to each other, the way they are so receptive of one another, the real like it's just I don't want to use the word subtle again because that's not even the right word, and I'm overusing it in this series, I know, but it's like basic, but not in like a bad way. It's just like, I don't know, there's something so simple, maybe that's the right word.
Well, it feels very real.
It's all just really coming together for me, and like I adore these women, and these were some of my favorite parts of the episode, just the way that they're able to have that connection with one another after all this time. And I mean, I get the sense that like when I think it was in the first episode when Shauna called Ty to say like we need to talk because of this reporter thing, that like maybe that was the first time they had talked in quite a while.
Right.
And I just I fucking hate it. Like they have this shared history. Yeah, it's shared trauma, but it's also like they're the only ones that were sleeping up in the attic together. They're the only ones that really knew about this, like, you know, aborted abortion. That was so dumb.
Right.
But the sleepwalking. I mean, it might come out that other people find out about this stuff, but for us, for right now, it's like they're so bonded, and I just want them to be able to be friends.
I know. I mean, same. Like, I obviously don't know. I don't know what the reason is that they don't want to talk to, or it's not that they don't want to talk to each other, but they've obviously made an agreement to not be in each other's lives as adults. But it sucks because I'm like, damn, like all this time that Shauna's probably felt obviously guilty about the best friendship with Jackie and everything that went down with that, then to not even have, I think, the comfort of Ty in the present day, it's just really, it's heartbreaking.
It is, yeah. And things must be really bad for Ty right now for her to show up publicly in terms of like showing herself to Jeff and Callie, and so
Jeff's so dumb when he's like,
oh, sweet,
come on in and have dinner. I mean, like you can.
There's a celebrity in our midst.
Dad joke. But
I love him. God, I love him so much.
God, he could be my dumb any day of the week. So
yeah, he can be as dumb as he wants. I don't care because he's sweet. Oh, is he James Hurley?
I wouldn't go that far, but
he's sweet, but he's so dumb.
I guess that's true. I mean, we have to. I need to see his reaction to someone dropping their towel in front of him and just see if it's like, I need you to put that back on and get back to gym class. You know what I mean? Like that would be the real test.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have to keep our eyes out for that scene then.
Hi, season 2. I'd like to see that in season 2, please. Thank you.
We just need the James Hurley test, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Well, do we see Jeff's forehead? Because he usually has a little bit of wisp.
He does have it covered quite nicely.
Yeah. So there's that. There is that. One thing about Ty, though, I do agree that the scene where she is, telling Simone about what's going on with her and all that, and I thought that was really nice. I think their relationship really needed that. Simone obviously doesn't react very well to Ty saying, I need you guys to leave. I'm scared I'm going to do something. I'm a little irritated that Simone is not okay with that because, I don't know. I just feel like after everything she just told you, can you not just listen and be like, okay, she needs her space? And then from your mom's house, you can also be like, all right, what can I do from here to support you? You know what I mean? But when Simone walks away, there is a slight look on Ty's face that I'm like, you're happy about this. Are you happy? Or are you relieved? What's happening? Because it's not totally just fuck, I'm at this point and I just had to ask my wife to leave. There's something else there.
Yeah, I mean, there's that change in her that I feel like we see in the last episode of the season as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this duality that Ty has, and she does it very well, and it's how I stay skeptical of her and love her at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, she talked about Biscuit, and I was like, bitch, do not go there. I am not ready for this, and I do not want to hear you talk about you might have accidentally let Biscuit out of the gate. Okay.
I think she is being honest about that. There's something about the way that she says that. There's even if she did do something to Biscuit, I don't think this version of her knows it either way.
Sure. I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't either. Should give full credit. I don't think that, but I do think that there's two parts of her. We were already know that. I feel like, but yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to really dissect that in episode 10, but
yeah.
All right. Well, staying with Shauna, then we can talk about Shauna and Adam. The other night I was hanging out with some old girlfriends, and we were saying, isn't it funny, when we're rewatching stuff from our past or even watching new stuff, whatever, how often we agree with the parents. And yet, 5-10 years ago, we might have still been on the side of the teenager or the younger person. But now it's can you just shut the fuck up and listen to your parents? I think we've talked about this on this show as well. But when Callie found Adam's wallet clip or whatever and was giving her mom shit, I said out loud to myself, children need to learn to shut up and listen to their parents. I'm so over children.
No, I mean, I'm with you on that, but also I kind of was thank goodness for Callie though, because
Fair.
Shauna would have never, even her hunting and pecking, trying to look up, bless her. I mean, but I feel like I'm of the same age group and I know how to type. So I'm I don't know about this so much, but anyway, no, I mean, Callie is definitely annoying, don't get me wrong, but I also was Shauna, you should be thankful for this annoying little brat on some level, because otherwise you'd just be not even aware that Adam is, I don't even know if he's lying to her. That's I hope we'll get more in season 2, and we'll talk about this, obviously in a later episode, but where it ends with Adam, it always puts a bad taste in my mouth, because I'm we just didn't know much of anything, and it felt like it was just getting started on unraveling. What are you doing, dude?
It is it's a beautifully written gray area, because Callie's right. Everything is kind of on the internet. It is a little bit shady to not have any internet presence. I get, but then there's also a part of me that's like, but still, not everybody does have an internet. Like, there are some people that have just never been into social media. They don't have a website because why would they? I mean, this guy's an artist, but I mean, like, what if he works at a gallery and he doesn't need to promote his own shit? I don't know. Like, I feel like, yes, it's shady, but there's also a logical reason of why somebody might not have a massive internet presence. Now, when you combine that with the fact that he lied about going to Pratt, then you start adding in some detail of like, okay, this isn't coming out in the wash. Like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll talk about these things that are cropping up in my mind right now. I'll jot them down and we'll talk about them once we get to like the end of the road for Adam, because I have a lot of just like maybe theories of what might come up for him. But right now I'm just like, Shauna, I mean, I know it probably isn't the first thing you think of. I don't know, because I'm thinking of to myself too. Like, I will meet people like when I started, my new job several months ago or whatever. Like, but I didn't like Google anyone. So like, I don't know. Like, is that just something that there's an age group for? And like you're saying, like, sure, like maybe there's not social media presence, but I feel like as quote unquote young as he is and like what he says, like that there should be something out there on him. But I don't know. I'm torn in between that, because I'm like, well, I mean, if someone doesn't have a social media presence, it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, they're lying about who they are. Right. But I also can't say that if someone doesn't have a social media presence, I'm not like, what are you hiding? Like, it's very weird. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. And I think that is just the world that we live in. And it's fair enough for the show to use that as a foundation to start building a sort of case against Adam. And like, but then again, like, I hear him talk, I think he has some really weird ideas about relationships and love and how to get into a university, because like, you can't just date a girl and then you go there. Like, it's not like marrying into a rich family. Like, you don't date into a university. So like, I think he is a little different in that way, but I don't know. It is, like I said, it's just such a good gray area that they've built for him. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, and especially everything we've seen up until now too. Like, it's at ahead now, because it's like, the accident,
where we end things,
the body
like, who the
shop,
fuck are you? Yeah.
Right. The body shop, the hotel, and now like, but then him being outside of her house, and then now there's this. So it's like, well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. He owns that body shop.
Right.
So would they have a website? And would his name be on the website as the owner?
Well, and it's funny because does he work there? Does he own it? Or is he an art? Like, I don't, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, there's too much,
I mean,
Mr. Adam.
I don't think it would be weird if he worked at a body shop and was also working on his art. Right. But if he owns that's a little less common, I guess. I don't know. I did want to go back to when Callie did bring that information to Shauna. I really appreciated her reaction, though, to just be like, yes, this sucks. I'm really sorry, but let's not pretend your dad is super innocent. Like, the inventory database bullshit, and like, called Callie out for being like, you judged me one way, you judged me this way. Like, I can't win for losing. What do you want me to do here? There's just something about the like, no filter, authenticity, just total vulnerability that these characters sometimes have with each other that just makes me like them that much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, just come clean, just be honest, say exactly what's on your mind. There's something super relatable about that, or like very admirable, I guess. But and then for her to be like, I am what he wants. Like, I know that's really hard for you to believe, but I'm what he wants. I felt so sad for her, like, because because like we're just saying, we don't know what Adam wants or who he is or what his deal is. So
yeah
And it's hard not to be worried because of the glitter and the empty safe. So,
oh God. Well, also there's something like, I mean, I think that has to be like, I don't know if I want to say humbling or like your inner cringe worthy, where you have to have that conversation or be that raw, like with your teenage child. You know what I mean? Where,
yeah.
like, it's such an odd dynamic. Like, I couldn't imagine having it with my parents, or like, I don't know if it would be that way with me and my child. But yeah, so like looking at it through that lens too, I'm like, oh yeah, that's got to be, which makes it even more admirable for Shauna in my eyes, right? Like, she could have brushed that off and just been like, whatever, you know, but just for her to just, I think, be Shauna, which is, you know, raw and uncut and unfiltered. And I'm like, this is refreshing. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Well, Adam may not have an internet presence, but Damn Fine TV certainly has an internet presence. Isn't that right?
Yes, that is right. We are on the interwebs.
We are. You can find us on Instagram at Damn Fine TV. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/damnfinetv. We have lots of fun stuff happening over there. What else?
Yep. And then, I mean, I don't know if this is a social media presence, but I mean, we are on podcast platforms because this is a podcast.
Yeah.
And you know, be our friend on that. And I'm just gonna guilt you, kind of like Jackie guilted Shauna, and I'm just gonna be like, give me 5 stars, okay?
Yeah.
Like, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
Why can't you give me 5 stars?
This isn't the time to be keeping stars to yourself.
This is not the time to gatekeep. Okay.
No gas lunch, please. Just all the stars.
Yes, please.
Okay. Shall we talk about Nat and her various dealings this episode?
Yeah. Do you remember when we talked about that moment where she was on the phone and we were like, it was very Laura Palmer?
Mm-hmm.
This felt very Laura Palmer, Firewalk with Me too. Like the breakdown that she has, like, you know, it was very raw. Obviously I've already said it made me cry. And then like just the way that she was, I mean, it was kind of odd, but I mean, like smelling the sheets, I knew what was going on. I mean, she was obviously like, you know, regretful of the way that she treated Kevin, and then just these relationships that adult Natalie, like, that we're seeing play out for her. I mean, like with her old sponsor Suze, and she's like, I wish I'd never fucking met you. And I was like,
yeah,
you know, I mean, yeah, there's obviously something inside of Nat that's unresolved, but like when it comes to Travis, like their bond and everything. I mean, the way she was talking to Suze, and she was like, we made a promise to each other, and I might be a liar, but he's not. And I just was like, oh my God. Like,
I loved that moment. That was so good. That was one of my favorite moments. That's been actually one of my favorite moments from adult Natalie in general. I thought that was such a nice little bit of self-awareness and truth. And like I just said, when characters do that on this show, it just endears them so much to me. Yeah. So I thought that was really great. But it also came wrapped up in, you know, Nat had ulterior motives for why she wanted to meet with Suze.
I mean, 100%, which I thought was great that she was being so vulnerable. And she was like, I might be a liar, aka I'm fixing to show you that I am still a liar. You know what I mean? Like, or I'm going to be me. And it's just so funny that she's like so pissed to be blackmailed, but she's not above blackmailing someone else, you know, like all these facets to Natalie, but yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And it's a little convenient, I guess, for me that her friend Suze, her friend, just happens to work for a bank. And like, are all banks just connected? Like, how is this going to work? How's she going to find out information about Travis?
I don't want to pull a lot of threads here. but my bank is also not open past 5 p.m. So whoever she was on the phone with trying to get into Travis's account to begin with, I was like, I don't, that was very hard for me. And then I was like, and Suze just happens to work at this bank. I mean, come on now. I worked at a bank, and they're not all like the bank I worked at was not connected with the other banks, meaning I couldn't just hack into a customer data profile and get all their information if they didn't bank there. So.
I just imagined this one just giant server that has all the bank information, which would be so dangerous. But
right.
I just don't really get how this plan is going to work. But
and Suze just happens to be in charge of that now. No, I'm just kidding.
Suze is head of all banks.
Suze is the bank.
She is the bank.
Like Scooby-Doo style. She rips off her person suit and she's just a bank. She's just an ATM machine.
Anyways, good luck to her. And you know what? Also, too, the only reason that Nat knew to follow this thread is because of Misty, right? And I get why she is frustrated and creeped out and annoyed and pissed off by Misty because Misty's been spying on her. But those two are more similar than I think they would like to admit, because things are always Nat has this beautiful moment of vulnerability, but then she's like, but here I am and I'm going to blackmail you absolutely just to get what I want. Misty tries to do this really genuine, amazing thing for her friend, but the only reason she's able to do that is because she's been spying on her.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Misty, I mean, no, I don't. Blah, 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 blah. Hold on, back up. All right. I don't doubt that she's never done drugs, but I was like, I think you were overreacting a tad bit here. When she was doing her beats per minute. I was like, all right, let's calm down a little bit. You're also I'm sure you could get your hands, or you have access to the Narcan or something that would help you prevent from overdosing, ma'am. So let's just take it a notch down. I love how that's her main concern when Natalie's confronting her about spying on her. She's like, no, I could possibly be dying from PCP. You're not worried about that?
I mean, I'll Venmo you, okay?
Oh my God. Well, and then, I hope she doesn't put the little snowflakes in the Venmo memo like Natalie put in the text. I was like, I thought we were being secretive here.
I mean, that's how... nope. Never mind. People text stuff
I don't know. Because guess what? I mean, yeah, well, I was about to say I don't really, but I do text instead of call, but I also don't, I don't like the snow. So if someone were to send me a snowflake, I would immediately block them.
Correct. I don't like snow in any forms. Let me say that. I just happen to know that you might do that.
Okay. This is where you have to see. This is where you have to fill me in. I don't know. I'm not hip to the scripts like that or whatever. The same.
I love this. Hip to the scripts.
I don't know what
I want to use that for something. Well, I want to use it for something because I really like it. Hip to the scripts.
Be my guest.
Okay. Do you think there's any part of Misty, because we do see that Misty is quite sad after this interaction, although I don't know how much of her attitude in this episode after taking which she did not have to do. I was going to say after taking all of those drugs, which she could have just tossed them away. She could have done any number of things, but she decided to snort them. Okay. But we do see that she's quite sad. Whether that's a reaction to that, I don't know. She's obviously hurt by the fact that Nat is mad at her. Do you think there's any part of Misty, past or present, that regrets smashing that recording box?
Well, I thought about that this episode, to be honest, and I really thought about it because she was so young. Misty was so excited for Laura Lee to be getting off the island, and I wanted to just shake her and be this would not be the situation if you hadn't have gone and destroyed a black box use superhuman thing because I thought those things were indestructible anyway.
Mm.
I think so. And I think that, I mean, there's something that she wants. There's a longing in these friendships with these girls. And I know they went through all of this together, but like, even though they went through all that, she's still an outlier to them. She's not like one of the group, right? Like, obviously, I think that Ty and Shauna have kind of kept in touch to a degree, but they could also slip back into that comfortable part of them together very easily. And then Ty's been in contact with Natalie because she's been funding her rehabs. And like, where does Misty fit into all this, right? So it's kind of like, so when we laugh about her spying on her, we laugh about her still watching like While You Were Sleeping intertwined with the story from 96. Like, there's a bittersweet, like, sad underlying tone to that, because it's like, I mean, she's got this woman captive in her basement. I know nobody else knows that right now, but I mean, like, she's doing so much to further and help the situation, and it just is not met with any kind of like open arms from anyone. And it's because it's misguided. I mean, don't get me wrong. Does she have any reason to have that owl in there spying on her? No. I mean, but yeah, it's sad.
It is sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's lucky for Jessica that she was feeling so sad, because I think, and on any other day, Misty smacks that bitch again for trying to kill her bird.
She probably could have knocked her unconscious with whatever she was throwing at the wall when she had that bird, like, versus like just hitting the wall so she would let go. Caligula didn't mean any of it.
My poor sweet boy.
I know. She was like, "I'll just get another one."
And it just the way that she said, like, "Are you hungry? I'm hungry. I'm gonna make us some food." So good. I mean, we've already like, given props to Christina Ricci, but she's so great.
So great. Oh man. Yeah. I love Misty fucking Quigley.
Do you think they know that she smashed that box? I mean, I know we haven't found that out for sure yet, but is there part of you that thinks that she told them eventually?
I think that it eventually comes out some way, because I don't feel like there would be any other reason for the animosity from Nat to her in the beginning, and also for Nat to be able to figure out that she pulled the wires on a Porsche. Like, it just feels like it's too, like, they have to find out at some point.
Right. Because it's not as though they were, like, they're not mean to her in 96. They're just, like, not necessarily super friendly, right?
Right.
Like, they all can kind of recognize that Misty's a little bit annoying. She's not necessarily our first choice for hanging out, but there's a like a potent dislike for Misty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting when that all comes out.
Woo! Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that felt quick, but I think that's all I've got.
I know. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in my notes, and I don't.
Yeah, I'm doing a quick scan.
I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered. One thing I do have in my notes, people, this is why, okay. Let me out this. I'm going to be controversial yet brave. It's not really that. This is just me being very vulnerable. We don't sit down and eat dinner as a family, but this is why things like a Ring doorbell or cameras come in handy. And I'm talking about now, okay? Because there is just something that I just do not like about, oh God, this is going to sound so bad, but like people coming over and stuff, like unannounced, right? So like when there's that dreaded, like I felt it just like in the air when it was Ty that was knocking on the door. But like, when Jeff was like, "Are you expecting anyone?" I don't know. Like, I feel like growing up, I had a very different experience. Like if it was a knock on the door, like my parents just opened the door and they're like, oh, hey, like whatever. I don't know. But like nowadays, if someone like, I can see that it's the mail driver dropping off a package and they ring the doorbell, like just as a courtesy. And I'm like, oh my God, get off of my doorstep. Like, I just can't handle it. So it's like, I have an issue with phone calls and I have an issue with my doorstep as well. And
but I agree. Stay out.
This scene though, I don't know what it is about it, but it had me I hated it because I was like, there is nothing that scares me in the most ridiculous way more than an errant knock on a door. And I'm
I don't
like
it either. There's something to me, and I mean, this is going to feel crazy for, I think, most normal people, but there's a level of audacity that I think certain people have to knock on your door, to ring your doorbell. Like, who are you to come up to my door and announce yourself? Correct.
Yeah. No.
Correct.
The only time of year that's acceptable.
I know it's a normal thing, but I'm not here for it. I just think, like, if you're coming to my house, you're going to text me.
Well, that's the thing,
I'll know that you're on your way.
It's the unplannedness of it that I'm like, that doesn't vibe with me at all.
And if the delivery needs, if you need me to come out there for some reason, I'm going to know because I requested the signature delivery. And so I will be watching the tracking number.
Yeah.
Otherwise, please step away from my door and discontinue from ringing and knocking.
Right. Like, don't ring it. I hate that. Like, no. Anyway, I don't know what it is. Like, it's just so weird because, like, I complain about these types of things. Not that it happens to me, but, like, when I'm talking to Scott about something and I'm like, no, like, don't. But it's just so odd because he's like, we didn't grow up that way. Like, people drop by your house. And I was like, I know, but that was like the 80s, man, and early 90s. Things were very
so different, right? Because I didn't grow up that way either. And I don't even think we used to lock our doors when I was that age. Like, I'm pretty sure we had neighbors and family members that would just walk in and you'd be like, oh, who's that coming through the door? You weren't worried that it was a fucking serial killer or something. It was just like, oh, that's, your aunt walking through the door or something, or like your next door neighbor friend or something. I don't know.
But it's just so funny for me to be like, for the most terrifying moments of this entire series is when someone knocks on the door unexpectedly. Okay.
Like, well, and the way that Shauna like looks at the door and then gets up so slowly and walks so calmly and so steadily, but like so nervously towards the door. I mean, she's amping it up.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm just like,
not for me either. I agree.
Like, if that was me, if I was in that position, I'd be like, I'm not expecting anyone, and they can leave a note.
Correct. Yeah. If I'm not expecting it, no, I'm not going to get the door. Ty, text me.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to say, which I thought was so funny, and I forgot to bring it up, but during the scene where Jackie is outing Shauna for being pregnant, and Akilah goes, "You were having sex?"
That was so great. Honestly, like, this is why I love the 96 stuff too, because everyone, even we call them the red shirts, right, are like the ones that aren't like part of the main group. Yeah. I love it. Just feels so real. Like, you just know that would be the actual the actual situation if it came out like that. Like, 100%. Somebody would be like, "Oh, you were having sex?"
Yes.
Oh my God.
That is such a young teenage girl thing to say. Like, yes, dummy, of course they were having sex. She's pregnant. That's what that means. Yes.
Trust me, Jackie was just as shocked, Akilah, okay?
Yep.
You're not the only one.
That is true.
Oh my gosh. But that was great. I love that.
Yeah, same here. Oh, wow. Okay, so 2 more episodes and then we get new stuff. This is so exciting.
It's crazy that there's so much more that's going to happen, and it's crazy that it's only 2 more episodes.
I know.
It's just crazy to me. But
lots to get to.
Well, if that's all for this time, I've got some espressos to pound while I smell my sheets.
Ooh, and I've got some cookies to steal from the local NA meeting.
Bye.